This short slide set touches on examples of leadership style and skills, and will introduce you to the 5 core principles of leadership. The content is designed to provide you with enough background theory about leadership, encouraging you to reflect on your own leadership style and skills so far. Whilst you are listening to and observing the slides, think about how you see yourself within your team. Have your notepad and pen handy to make your notes, so you can refer to them in the discussions that follow this presentation. As you listen to the narrative, the aim here is to develop your understanding of the qualities, values, and behaviours of an effective leader. The objectives are to introduce you to the 5 core principles of leadership, encourage you to explore and reflect on individual leadership style and the impact of behaviours on others within the team, and finally, enable you to reflect on the issues and challenges of being a leader yourself by relating to your practice experience during your preceptorship so far. During the presentation, there are several short exercises which will give you an opportunity to pause and take a moment to think about yourself as a leader within your team. What is going well? What are your challenges? And what do you need help with? After the slides, you will have time to further explore and discuss your thoughts within your group. First, take a moment to consider these questions. Do you see yourself as a leader? However you responded to this question, do you know why you have responded this way? What does this say about you and how you feel about the leadership generally? The Trust believes that all clinicians are leaders within the work that they do and in each encounter with a patient, service user, or carer. If we work in a traditional hierarchy, leaders could be perceived as only those working as line managers. We could assume, depending on our point of view, that it is only senior leaders who lead. Our changing reality is actually very different. Our society changes and healthcare systems become more complex. Evidence suggests that leadership in healthcare settings should become more collaborative, so that the very best leadership is deployed as a collective that is a partnership between professionals and the people we are working for. In its simplest form, leadership is the art of motivating a group of people to act towards achieving a common goal. What you have observed so far in your team, and can you think of any examples of common goals? Leaders help themselves and others to do the right things. Think about who is helping you as you journey through your preceptorship, and how you support others in your team day to day. They set direction, build an inspiring vision, and create something new. It can be said that leadership for all of us is about mapping out where you need to go to win, as a team or an organisation. It is dynamic, exciting, and inspiring. Authentic behaviour is the first core principle. This is the single most important characteristic of a good leader. During your preceptorship, you are continually developing your skill set as a professional and as a leader. What attributes are important here? Integrity, living by your core values, leading by example, and walking the talk are important qualities so that people will believe in you as a person and as a leader in your practice setting. Authenticity builds trust, pride, and loyalty. Acting authentically means that people will want to follow you, will want to serve you as you serve them, and will do their best for you. You can ask for no more. Take a moment now to consider these questions and make some notes. What words describe yourself when you are functioning at your best? Can you give an example of the conditions around you when you are able to be your most authentic self? Principle 2 is openness and listening. It is a fundamental element of a great leadership. Sometimes it's all too easy as a leader to sit in an ivory tower, to keep your head down, and to spend your life in important meetings, and to never engage with others. However, people buy into people. They need to see you, hear you, and feel your presence. They need to know you are real, to know what you stand for, and to know that you've got their back. It also means that you are open to what people have to say. You listen to them, embrace feedback, and act on it. Being open builds trust and loyalty, but vitally, it also makes us and our teams feel both valued and good about the work we do. Being interested in all colleagues, not just the ones we get on with, shows interest in what they have to say. This is good for everyone's emotional well-being, motivation levels, and productivity. You will remember from session 1 that you explored how important it is to have that connectivity with others by using your emotional intelligence to yours and their best advantage. Time now for activity 3. On a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being low and 10 being high, how would you rate A. Your day-to-day performance of being open and listening to your colleagues? B. How good is your team in being open and listening to each other? And C. How could you improve on this score? Knowing your people is principle number 3. When you are open, when you're visible and engaging with people, you get a chance to know them better. When you know them better, you can work out what makes them tick, what motivates them, and how to help them work most effectively. If you don't know them, you could be operating in a vacuum. During your supervision and preceptorship reviews, these are excellent opportunities to get to know other colleagues better, for them to get to know you and what makes you tick. We have now heard about 3 of the principles. Keeping yourself and others motivated is a fundamental element. Take a moment here to note down what keeps you motivated. Is it one of the 3 core principles we have heard about so far? Let's turn our thoughts now to communication, which is our 4th principle. All of us know well that being an effective communicator is an essential part of our roles. So, what is your style of communicating? Do you find it easy to engage and connect with others? Or have you come across situations where wires have been crossed and you haven't been sure if you said the right thing? Have you had opportunities to talk situations through and reflect what you did or said with your preceptor and supervisor? What might you need to continue to develop your communication skills? Or is there a situation that you haven't encountered yet that you might be worrying about? For example, having a difficult conversation with a colleague or patient. Could you think of an example where your communication skills have been challenged? How did you manage this, and what was the outcome? Would you be happy to share your story with the group later in this session? The 5th principle is staying positive. This might sound oversimplified. Staying positive can be extremely challenging when times are tough, and yet it's hugely important quality to have. The pandemic, I'm sure you'll agree, is a good example here of tough times. As you go through your preceptorship and your first year in post, you're going to experience a whole range of emotions, right from it's going very well, I feel really positive and I've got this, to the exact opposite when some days it's so busy and I'm struggling a little and I don't feel positive at all. That is very normal to have positive and negative feelings. You'll have highs and lows at different times, and you'll probably have noticed that your team does too. So here are some ideas to be thinking about to help you stay positive. Solution, not problem. Learning to not interpret things as disasters. Feedback, not failure. Collective responsibility, not blame. And system, not individual. During your preceptorship, it is really important to have support and opportunities to talk. Think about where your support comes from. Meeting with your preceptor, manager, and others on a regular basis can give you important time to reflect and talk through how you are feeling at the time. The Preceptee support sets will also give you time out of practice to share, listen, and give other peer support when needed. What else might you need to retain or restore your positivity? The next slide introduces the concept of compassionate leadership and describes the fundamental qualities of being a compassionate leader. These are the 10 evidence-based behaviours described as essential for compassionate leadership developed by NHS England and improvements during the COVID-19 pandemic. They are relevant for all healthcare professions and at all levels in the NHS. As I take you through the slide, think about yourself and how you translate these into your practice, and equally what you need in these from others to stay resilient and feel supported during a challenging time. So, what is compassionate leadership? Compassionate leadership in practice means leaders listening with fascination to those they lead, arriving at a shared, rather than imposed, understanding of the challenges they face, empathising with and caring for them, and then taking action to help or support them. Compassionate collective leaders look after themselves and model this self-care to others, realise it is okay to be human, to make mistakes and learn from them, and they give themselves and others permission to do this. Paying attention, really listening and demonstrating an empathetic and supportive approach. Encouraging compassion, kindness and caring in the wider organisation. A good question here is, do our trust policies and processes reflect this? We can link all these behaviours back to ourselves and what we observe in others. They will help us to consider what we need to stay well at work and in our personal lives, perform better, and therefore provide better patient care. We might say that if we feel supported, cared for and well led, then we are much more likely to want to support others and engage at work. The principles behind preceptorship very much embody these values, both in supporting preceptees as leaders in every aspect of their professional growth and day-to-day practice. Now you have listened to this presentation, you have been introduced to the 5 core principles of leadership. The next part of the session will give you time and space to talk about what you have heard. Your facilitator will guide and lead you through the next section. Thank you.